What up? This is Matt from Gear Zombie, and today we're going to dial in some 80s Helix tones. Okay, so we're gonna dial in that tone that you just heard in that little ditty. Before we do that, do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little notification bell, that way you know when I got stuff posted. Also, as much as possible, links for most everything I use will be down in the description, so if you're looking for something, clicking on those links will help out my channel. Okay, so I wanted to dial in an 80s tone, and what better to dial in the 80s tone than to use the Soldano? And that's what I did with this guy. I used the SLO-100, which I would love to have a real one, an actual old Soldano back here. That would just make me, I'd just be tickled with one of those. I'd be poor, but I'd be tickled with one of those either way. So let's redial in that patch so that you can see what I did, and then we'll have it uploaded on my website. Link will be down in the description. And as always, I don't charge for any of this stuff, and I don't make you guys buy IRs. I try to do all these with stock cabs. The stock cabs are more than fine to get good quality tones. But one thing I do want to point out, sometimes I will get people that will download tones and then they'll say things like, doesn't sound anything like that, I don't understand what he's doing. This particular guitar has a tone zone and an air Norton in it. Unless you are playing this guitar with these pickups and these sausage fingers, odds are your tone may be a little different. A lot of parameters, when you download somebody else's tones, a lot of things that you need to check are your gain, for starters, because everybody's gain is going to be a little bit different depending on what they're using for pickups, guitars, how hard they pick, gate settings. When somebody uploads these tones, it's more of just a template, something that you can throw in your Helix and then start to kind of tweak around and see if you can get it to what sounds good to you. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But either way, you'll be able to see how I approach it and what we come up with. First things first, let's get an amp in here, and we used the SLO-100. Actually, in this case, it is the slow overdrive lead. For the cabinet, I believe in this case, I used a 412 Cali V30. You'll find in a lot of these, especially the hard rock ones, I tend to favor various 412s. I mean, it's just kind of a common thing. Playing, you want a big rock sound, you go with a big rock cab, and that's just kind of, not that you can't do it with the other cabs. I mean, as a matter of fact, I do most of my recording with the 212 Mesa if I'm going to actually use a cab. I've got a 412 5150 back there that, I mean, I never use. One of the nice white 5153s. It's a pretty cab. I really like that. And I never turn it on. Also, along with those sausage fingers, I use 88mm Tortex picks. I think those are 88. Old eyes are letting me down. Still got that noise. This also lets me in on the fact that we need to make sure I always have the gate on the input here. So let's turn this on. And also, like a normal gate, I want to pull the decay way down because I want that quick. It's not bad. There you go. Let's upload that. Actually, we got some more things we want to do here. I did a few different things in that song. If you noticed, I had solo patches going on, which are different only in the respect of gain and like some delay and stuff. Other than that, I still use the Soldano. One thing I did do So there was a few things that I wanted to do with that. One, consistency. In this block, I actually, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I had a gate in here as well. I had another gate, and I think I had this one pulled kind of far back. I also wanted a little more grit on this. So, like I tend to do, Old Faithful, and you can use some of these other ones. And I need to do some videos with some other ones, but the Scream 808, I mean, go to, right? Pull the gain back. You know the drill. Pull the gain back. We're going to pull the tone back a little bit. Okay. So we got more gain. And then I tend to, seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? I tend to pull the drive back on the head. Cab's a 160 ribbon. That's a little thin. Let's, I think in the last video, did I do a 414? It's closer. One thing I'll probably do, let's bring this distance in just a hair. That's just making my response time just a little quicker. It's not like we're dragging it way out here, which will make it thin and kind of muffy. Bring it up here to 2. All right, so let's see. So now we've got our drive block, we've got our amp and our cab. We talked about compression, but one thing that I noticed when I was building this, as nice and responsive as this tone felt to me, and it's good and mid-rangey, which is what I want. But it's almost too mid-rangey. So, or not even too mid-rangey, not bottomy enough. And the top's a little flat for me. So we're going to bring your 125 up here. We're going to see what we can get. Let's do about, so we're kind of rounding the bottom out there. 62. Now this might just introduce some rumble, but just a little more bottom. And then I'm going to kind of push 2K a little. And 4K. Bad arse. I like that one. Now, I don't like a lot of gain for my rhythm patches. I like it enough that we get a good breakup and a good bark. Where I start to back it off, personally, let's crank some gain up here. That sounds cool and all. Now we're starting to fart. So you can tell just from there, from whatever I was at, 3-ish or whatever to 6-ish, or 2-ish to 6-ish. And keep in mind, I am pushing it with an overdrive. But what you can hear you start to lose definition. And I got some flack on an older 5150 video. I demoed one of the 5153s, and I talked about how it had an uncontrollable amount. It had too much gain. And a bunch of people are like, it's a metalhead. If it's got too much gain, you know what you're doing. And that's not the case. You get to a point where your gain starts to control your sound, and instead of you controlling your sound. For me, gain is supposed to assist in getting the tone that you want. It's not supposed to morph everything into a ball of chud, which can happen really quick. I don't like the ball of chud, especially when I'm recording. Now, full disclosure, live, I play higher gain than I record with, and I think most people do that. And part of that's sustain. It's nice to be able to play a little more effortlessly, but when you're recording and you're going to be double tracking or triple tracking, depending on what you do, I tend to do a mixture. For the most part, rhythm tracks are almost always double track, same part, right and left. If I'm doing something hard rock, sometimes I will do a track right up the middle and I have it kind of low, and that just rounds everything out. Usually if I have vocals in the mix, then I pull that back, pull the center track back anyway. Let the vocals right up the middle. They might still be there to reinforce, like really low. Everything you're doing with gain is going to compound, right? So if you've got a slushy on the right and a slushy on the left, you're just driving down a highway of poo, which I did once, actually. Welcome to Unnecessary, Unsolicited, Unrelated Stories from Gear Zombie. Today's story involves poop and traveling at high rates of speed. Enjoy. Driving with my children and a gigantic truck literally full of like liquid farm poo. Some lady in front of the truck, cut in front of the truck. He slams on the brakes and just coats the highway in poo, okay? And like just liquid shit. Like to the point that I slammed on my brakes and my anti-locks are kicking and I'm like skitching across doo-doo. It was in the paper. I'll have to see if I can find that. If I can find it, I was right behind the truck, thought I was going to die. I ran that truck through the car wash over and over again, got up underneath trying to spray it, like nothing I could do. Finally, like somewhere within a few days of that, we got ridiculously heavy rains and all the streets around me were like flooding, and I was flying up and down the streets, hydroplaning, trying to douche the underside of my freaking truck. So sorry, didn't mean to go off on that story there, but that's a doo-doo truck. Anyway, you don't want your tone to sound like you're driving your Chevy Avalanche through a highway of farm doo-doo. That's not what you want. All right. About 3 feels good. I had no idea how I was going to end that. I just started. That's how you do it. Pro. That's how pro does it. All right. So this is a good chord tone. Let's name this. Pardon? And we'll name, oh, son of a bitch. I just did that, didn't I?
Oh, son of a... Oh, son of a...
Fortunately, I have one here I can pull back up. Okay, so now the one thing that's missing from here that we need to do is the compressor. Okay, so I'll put the deluxe compressor on there. Let's see where this puts us. Now remember, this was for the... One thing we need to do, we need to shut this off. And I just rolled the gain back here. Okay, so what this is doing here so that you can hear. As much as I'm trying to be consistent with the plucking, there's still a human element that's happening there, okay? Part of that is a crappy guitar player element. And what I have found is in many cases, the compressor button is the anti-crappy guitar player element. But what this is going to do is it's going to take the quieter notes and bring them up and the louder notes and bring them down. So okay, let's listen to that again with the compressor off. Couple things that's doing. One, when I have it off, I'm fighting it. I'm trying to pluck harder and trying to be more consistent. What you inevitably try to do when you're plucking like that, for me anyway, is you can hear the valleys. So you pluck harder to try to bring the valleys up, but you're also bringing the peaks up. So you're just kind of, just as poopy, just louder. So I can stay more consistent. And still be dynamic. So for the lead, I am running the compressor. I think my settings are a little bit different. Threshold's a little down. Gain, we're going to run higher gain, a little bit more, pushing a little more with the tube screamer. And then I left the EQ and I just put a delay, real simple delay. Let's see what this sounds like. All right, if you liked anything that I had going on, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Do me a favor, hang around, hit our social media, go to Facebook, go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to my OnlyFans. Don't go there. And until next time, Gear Zombie. Thanks for watching, by the way.